Have you ever really thought about the incredible, complex machine that you're living in right now? I'm talking about your own body. Today, we're going to take a tour of the most sophisticated machine on the planet, and it's you. Let's explore the amazing system that keeps you going every single day.
So, let's dive right in. Just try to imagine a city that's always buzzing, that never ever sleeps. It has a transport network so huge it could circle the entire globe. Well, that city? It's you. So, you ready to start the tour? And here's our map, the circulatory system itself. This is your body's internal transport network. You can think of it like a nonstop delivery and pickup service, working 24/7 to carry all the vital supplies to every single one of your trillions of cells.
Our very first stop is the environment where all this action happens. We're calling it the sea within us. Because, believe it or not, every single cell in your body is floating in a perfectly balanced liquid. It's kind of like each cell lives in its own tiny private ocean.
And what you're seeing here is the constant exchange going on in this internal sea. Oxygen and nutrients, they pass from the blood into the cells. And at the same time, waste products like carbon dioxide move out so they can be carried away. This whole balancing act has a name, homeostasis, and it is absolutely essential for keeping you alive.
Okay, so if our cells are living in an ocean, what's flowing through it? Well, that would be the river of life itself, our blood. Let's get a closer look at what it's actually made of. You know, blood isn't just a simple red liquid. It's actually about 55% a yellowish fluid called plasma. That's mostly water, sure, but it's also packed with proteins and nutrients. The other 45%? Well, that's made up of the solid parts, the specialized cells that we call the formed elements.
First up, meet the ultimate delivery drivers of your body, the red blood cells, or erythrocytes. Think of them as billions of tiny oxygen taxis. Their one super important job is to grab oxygen from your lungs and drop it off at every other cell. And they do this using a special protein called hemoglobin, which, by the way, is what gives them that classic red color.
Next, let's meet the security team, the white blood cells, or leukocytes. These guys are the soldiers of your immune system. Anytime a nasty bacteria or virus tries to invade, these are your first responders. They identify the threat, surround it, and destroy it to keep you healthy.
And finally, we have the emergency repair crew, platelets, also known as thrombocytes. And what's wild is that these aren't even complete cells. They're tiny little fragments just floating around. The second you get a cut, they rush to the scene, stick together, and form a plug, a clot, to stop the bleeding. It's pretty incredible, isn't it?
So, when you put it all together, you can see blood has three massive jobs. It's a transport system for all those crucial supplies, it's a protection force fighting off invaders, and it's a regulation system, keeping your body's temperature and its chemical balance just right.
Okay, so we've got the delivery fluid and all the specialized cellular trucks. But what about the roads they drive on? It's time to check out the body's amazing vascular highway.
Now, this network has two main types of highways. First, you've got the arteries. See how they have thick, muscular walls? That's because they carry blood away from the heart under really high pressure. Then, you've got the veins, which bring blood back to the heart. Their walls are thinner, and they have these cool little one-way valves inside to make sure blood doesn't start flowing backward.
But the most important stuff doesn't even happen on the big highways. No, it happens on these tiny little side streets called capillaries. These vessels are so incredibly narrow that red blood cells have to line up single file just to squeeze through. And this is where the real work gets done. Oxygen and nutrients get dropped off to the cells, and waste gets picked up.
All these roads and all this traffic wouldn't go anywhere without a central engine, right? So it's time to visit the command center of our whole tour, the heart.
The heart is basically this incredibly powerful muscular pump with 4 rooms or chambers. The top 2, the atria, are like little receiving rooms where blood comes in. The bottom 2, the ventricles, are the powerful pumping rooms that push the blood out. And hey, notice how the heart muscle, it's called the myocardium, is way thicker on the left ventricle? Well, that's because it has the huge job of pumping blood to your entire body.
Now, to keep all that blood flowing in the right direction, the heart has 4 amazing valves. As you can see, they work just like perfect one-way doors. They open up to let blood through, and then they snap shut to stop any of it from flowing backward. It's this precise timing that makes the heart so efficient.
You know that famous lub-dub sound of a heartbeat? That's literally the sound of those valve doors closing during what's called the cardiac cycle. It all happens in two main phases. Diastole, that's when the heart muscle relaxes and fills up with blood, and systole, when it powerfully contracts and pumps the blood out. It's this perfectly timed dance that happens about 100,000 times a day.
So, we've seen the blood, we've seen the vessels, and we've seen the pump. Now, let's put it all together and map out the complete journey. It's what we call a two-way trip.
Here's something really cool. Blood actually makes two separate loops in one full cycle. First, the right side of the heart pumps that oxygen-poor blood on a quick trip to the lungs. That's the pulmonary circuit. There, it drops off carbon dioxide and picks up fresh oxygen. Then, that refreshed, oxygen-rich blood comes back to the left side of the heart, which pumps it out on a much longer journey to the entire body. That's the systemic circuit. This whole double-loop system is incredibly efficient.
But of course, like any high-performance machine, this entire system needs proper care. So let's talk a little bit about keeping the machine running.
Because when this system isn't taken care of, things can start to go wrong. Things like clogged arteries or high blood pressure can put a real strain on this amazing machine. And that's why understanding how it works is the very first step to keeping it healthy for your whole life.
And the good news is, the maintenance plan is actually pretty simple. Eating a healthy diet, getting regular exercise that gets your heart pumping, avoiding bad habits like smoking, and finding ways to manage stress, those are the absolute key things you can do to keep your internal engine and all its highways in top condition. So, let's just quickly recap our tour. It all starts with keeping that stable internal environment, homeostasis. From there, the blood acts as the transport system, the heart is the powerhouse pump, and the final destination for all this hard work is every single cell in your body. It's just a beautiful, interconnected system working tirelessly for you every second of your life. And that brings our tour to an end. So, what's the big takeaway here? Well, it's that you are the caretaker of this incredible biological machine. Understanding how it works is the first step, but maintaining it, that will sustain the flow of your life. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.